This is how to graph a line from an equation that is in standard form. Standard form, here's an example, would be written like this. X plus 2y equals 4, where the x and y are both on the same side of the equal sign, right here. What you would do is you would put a 0 over here, like that, and then mark another one, the same thing, but you're going to put a 0 in the y place. This is an x and this is a y. A 0 here and then a 0 there. So this is what you're going to do. That's how you're going to start out. Next, rewrite your equation, x plus 2y equals 4. And for this first one, you're going to make x a 0 because you have a 0 here in this spot. So make this x, circle it, make it a 0. Now I'm going to solve. And the way I would solve that is I would divide both sides by 2, and then I have y equals 2. So then here is my first point, 0, 2. Next, I'm going to do this one here, where the y has a 0. I'm going to rewrite my original, this one right here, equation, and I'm going to write it next to the parentheses that I have there. So I'm going to write x plus 2y equals 4. And like I said, this time, now you're going to make y 0. So circle the whole y part, and then you have the answer. This is already solved for you, x equals 4. So now I have 2 points. I have 0, 2, so I'm going to come over here and graph 0, 2, which is this point right here. And then I'm going to graph this point right here, 4, 0, which is 4 and 0. Now I have 2 points, and with my 2 points, I can draw a straight line, and that's my line. That's how you graph a line from an equation in standard form. Now I'm going to graph a line from another equation that is in standard form. Here I have 8x plus 5y equals 40. And again, the reason why it is in standard form is because both the x and the y are located on one side of the equal sign. So the way I'm going to start is I'm going to put parentheses on the right side of the page. So I'm going to put it, here's the xy form. So I'm going to put it in the x position. And then the next one, I'm going to put it in the y position. So I put a 0 here and then a 0 there. And that's what's going to guide me to my points. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. 8x plus 5y equals 40. And because 0 is in the x spot, I'm going to make this whole entire x section a 0. Now I have 5y equals 40, and I'm going to solve that. And the way I solve it is I divide both sides by 5, and that'll give me y equals, and 40 divided by 5 is 8. So I'm going to put an 8 right there. Next, I'm going to, again, rewrite my equation, my original equation, which is this right here, 8x plus 5y equals 40. And I'm going to write it here next to this other parentheses, 8x plus 5y equals 40. And I'm going to look here and I see that 0 is in the y space. So I'm going to take this y and make it a 0 because it says 0. The y is 0, so my y is 0. Now I'm going to solve 8x equals 40. How do I solve 8x equals 40? I divide both sides by 8. So divide this by 8, divide this by 8, and now I have x equals 40 divided by 8, which happens to be 5. So x is 5, so I'm going to put 5 in the x spot. Okay? Now I have 2 points. I have 0, 8, and I have 5, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and plot them. 0, 8. So 0, and then the y is 8, so where this y is, I have to go all the way up to the 8. That's my spot. Next, I have 5, and it happens to be in the x position, so I got to look at the x right here. Now I have two points, and I'll take those 2 points, and all you need are 2 points to make a line. So I'm going to put this straight edge right here, and then I'm going to draw my line, and that happens to be the equation 8x plus 5y, and that's how you plot. Here I'm going to do another example, one last example of how to graph a line from an equation in standard form. So I'm going to give you my third example, 7x minus 9y, 7x minus 9y equals negative 63. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my parentheses and put a 0 in the x spot, another parentheses, and put a 0 in the y spot. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Next, I'm going to rewrite the equation 7x minus 9y equals negative 63. And since there's a 0 in the x spot, I'm going to take this x portion of the equation and I'm going to cancel it out, or make it a 0, making it a 0. So now all I have left is negative 9y equals negative 63. So I'm going to solve that equation. And the way I do that is I divide both sides by negative 9, this side by negative 9, and this cancels out, and I have y equals, and negative 63 divided by negative 9 is a positive 7. So y is 7, so I'm going to put 7 right here where the y is. Okay? Next, again, I'm going to rewrite my equation, my original equation, 7x minus 9y equals negative 63. And now I have a 0 in the y spot. So I'm going to make the y part, which is this right here, the whole thing, including the minus sign that's in front of it, a 0. So now if I read it, it says 7x equals negative 63. And I'm going to solve that. And the way I do that is I divide both sides by 7. 7. So this cancels out, and then I have x equals, and negative 63 divided by 7. I only have one negative, so my answer is going to be negative, and it's going to be actually negative 9. So x is negative 9. So that means in this x spot right here, I'm going to put a negative 9. So here I have my 2 points, 0, 7, and negative 9, 0. Remember, everything is always in the XY format. So when I come over here to graph it, I have my 2 points. I have 0, 7. So 7 is in the y spot. So I'm going to go ahead. This is the y axis right here. So I'm going to put 0, 7 on the y axis. And then this one, negative 9 on the x axis. And remember, this is the x axis here. So I'm going to put 0, negative 9, and that's actually going to go all the way over here on this side, negative 9, 0. So those are my 2 points. And now that I have my 2 points, I can actually get a straight edge and put it there and go ahead and mark a line between the 2 points. And that's my line. That is how to graph a line from an equation in standard form.